But the community is a big part in the wake of a collapse. Keep in mind, if you need insulin, somebody else needs insulin. There's going to be plenty of people trying to get insulin out, as an example. Same thing with emergency medications. Always have extra, always have some on hand. There was a time, I don't know if you could do this now, everything wants you dependent. Nobody wants you self-reliant. Mm-hmm. They will give you just enough medications to come back and refill in a week, right?
Yeah.
But there was a time you could go to your provider and ask them for a 6-week prescription. I'm going to travel.
Sure.
You know, I need to keep 30 days on hand in case, whatever. They used to do that. I don't know if they do it now. I'd ask. It's worth it. But my biggest concern would be chronic prescription medication requirements in the family.
Yeah. I've been talking about that for a while now to viewers and talking about if there's anything you can do. Look, there's a lot of people that are on prescribed medications that have to be. Like, if you don't take this medication, you're going to die. But there's a lot of people that are hooked on prescribed medications that don't require it if they would make positive lifestyle changes.
100% I agree. 100%.
Probably the majority. I don't know that to be a fact, but I would say the majority.
We're as a nation, we're grossly over-medicated. Mm-hmm. We're grossly over-medicated. I'm not anti-medicine, but we are grossly over-medicated. Yeah. And the cold hard truth is, if there is a collapse, there's going to be death. People are not going to make it.
Yeah.
And I wish I could give you the magic answer. You need this, and this is what's going to keep Nan alive. Can't give you that answer. Yeah. It's going to be difficult. So obviously you want to prevent the collapse.
Sure.
The way we do that, in my opinion, in the United States is stop turfing off the responsibility of running our towns to these bought men. That's all they are. They're bought men. We're too busy running our lives, being an island amongst ourselves, among us, whatever the saying is, being islands of ourselves, to pay attention to what's going on around us. But having the right leadership in your community will go a long way towards, resiliency and readiness. Mm-hmm. But you should be ready. Look at Union County, where we live. The overwhelming majority of the population are baby boomers. They're elderly. They're senior citizens. What's going to happen if the power goes out this winter for a week? Nobody cares. Mm-hmm. Nobody's talking about it. You're just a crazy prepper for bringing it up. It's like, look, I'm fit and I got what I need. If the power goes out for a month or two, I'll be fine. Mm-hmm. But I don't know about the bulk of the population around here. We've abandoned our elderly to Uber Eats. Mm-hmm. But again, it goes back to having those strong community ties.
Right.
Where are your kids?
Yeah.
It's that simple.
People you can count on.
Yeah.
If you call somebody, they'll show up.
They'll show up.
That's important.
So
that's a question for people watching, I guess. If can you answer that? If I was to ask you, if there's a handful of people that if you call them right now and you need them to be there for whatever reason, whatever terrible chore that it name it, are they going to show up? Do you have that in your life? And I think a lot of people would say no, if they were honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody has friends, but really, do you have real friends? If you
only know them and interact with them on social media, they are acquaintances.
Not yet, best.
They are not your friends.
Yeah.
Friends show up and you guys can shake hands.
And you do things.
Right. Acquaintances are people that you like, but not enough to actually go visit them in person. Mm-hmm. So the best you're going to get is something on the phone.
Yeah.
Right. You can't rely on an acquaintance.
No.
And you can only rely on some friends.
Sure. That's a fact, unfortunately.
Yeah, but it's like we talked about. It's finding that right interdependency within that community and extended family that's really going to make the difference if there's some type of societal collapse. Mm-hmm. You're never going to have everything you want.
Sure.
You're never going to feel like you have enough supplies, medical supplies, food. You're never going to have enough.
Right.
So you can focus on growing your skill set and strengthening your community. That's going to be a huge win if you can get embedded into the right community that has that shares your values and principles, mm-hmm. and allows you to become interdependent with them.
Yeah,
that's where you want to be.
I like that a lot. What other things could we possibly expect? You told me a story about where was it? They ran out of lighters, and where was that?
Not my story. I shared it. Since I got the story, I got that from what's his name? T-Jack Survival. Tyler White. Yeah. He's the one who told me about it. And he's right. He's right. I had to go look it up and see for myself. It was in Serbo, Croatia, Bosnia, somewhere over there. And one of the first things they ran out of, as you know, I would say a first world nation, almost second first world nation.
Debatable.
Well, I mean, they're coming out of the old Eastern Bloc.
Yeah.
They were on their way.
Sure.
But after the collapse, one of the things they ran out of was lighters and matches.
Can't start a fire.
Can't start a fire. So
how would you start a fire if you didn't have a lighter, didn't have matches, you didn't have all the stuff you're used to starting fires with, and you couldn't heat your home because there was no propane, there was no electricity? What would you do?
So I really liked his approach to it. He wasn't looking to do a friction fire because he wants to impress all of his friends at the campsite. It's like, what are you going to do if you run out of matches and lighters?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Quick?
Yeah.
And it wasn't that pretty quick in the standpoint of within the first few days. No, it was after a month or two.
Yeah, everybody's still smoking.
Everybody's still smoking.
Cigarettes start to run out. Lighters go run out.
But you get the Eastern European winter, you're going to be starting a lot of fires. I mean, it gets cold over there.
Yeah.
So they ran out of fires real quick.
Yeah.
They ran out of fire fuel real quick. They were burning furniture and
yeah. Fortunately, where we live, I think we live kind of in the Goldilocks zone, in my opinion. It doesn't get that cold. You could have no heat in your house. It's going to be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But you could have no heat in your house, and as long as you have warm blankets, sleeping bags, stuff to get into at night, you're not going to freeze to death.
Where we live, get it away with layers, right? Right. Yeah, it's not going to be
where we live,
but I can put on the clothes and the blankets. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
If you start getting north of the Mason-Dixon line, or
not the same.
Not the same.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have to figure out a winter's worth of fuel if there's a real shortage.
If the electricity stops pumping, the propane stops flowing, all of that stuff, and one. The crazy thing is to think about is just one glitch like diesel fuel running out affects everything.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy? Like how fragile the system is. It's
fragile because it's centralized.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we've been centralizing out of greed and malicious intent.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time where you had a bunch of local and regional distributors, and you didn't have as many 18-wheeler trucks on the road. You would have vans, and you would have pickup trucks making deliveries to stores. Now everything's an 18-wheeler.
Yeah.
Because everything's coming, I'm exaggerating, but everything's coming from Walmart in Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
It's just coming from one or two distribution places.
What
happens if they decide to stop working for pick a reason, COVID, I don't like your hair, whatever reason, nowadays people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, centralizing makes what infrastructure you do have, while profitable and convenient and easy to control when things are going well, it's devastating regionally. It's devastating if there's an issue in that one place. There's zero redundancy in this.
Yeah.
Mega farms are bad. Yeah, I don't like the practice, how they treat the animals for sure, right? But at the end of the day, mega farms are bad because you should have small farms. Like we're in Georgia. This is arguably one of the most fertile regions on Earth.
Yeah.
On Earth.
Yeah.
And we import our vegetables.
Right.
Why? There's no reason for this.
Why are we doing that? Why don't we just get it from right here?
The United States needs absolutely zero imports.
Mm-hmm.
We need zero, maybe some raw materials on the industrial side, but we're food secure. We used to be food secure. We used to be energy secure. Mm-hmm. And we're the only military as of today that can project its force. We're the only true force projection military out there. So, once we started dabbling in the global market and outsourcing production and this and acquisition, it's like, dude, you're hoping China's going to give you that life-saving medication. Feels a little dumb now, doesn't it?
Feels pretty stupid.
Feels a little dumb now. Uh-huh. That was the norm. A lot of countries fall prey to that. A lot of countries fall prey to that. They start outsourcing their stuff, But again, we live in Georgia. Look around.
Yeah.
There's enough here to feed everybody in the state.
Yeah.
We don't even need to import.
Do it locally.
Yeah, do it locally. We could beef and veggies. And people have to come down off their horse a little bit, just a little bit, and accept that maybe you won't get some vegetables and fruit out of season.
Yeah. Sorry.
Wild.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so you can't have your orange today.
My grandparents would, if they would walk into and they're long gone, but if they walk into the grocery store now, they wouldn't recognize any of the vegetables that are in there. Those aren't the same species that they grew.
Right.
The carrots are different. The tomatoes are different. Still carrots, still tomatoes, but they're different species that are being imported. But we live in Georgia. I mean, I'm just looking out your window, but if I just put food out in that one pasture right there, we'd all eat for the year.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
We can do that. And I'd encourage folks, if you're fearing for a collapse, get off the system.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to go off grid, but get with an interdependent community, start your own farming network, start your own farmers market, it's 100% doable.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was, honestly. I looked at it like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's like when you hear them say, hey, just start your own social media platform. You're like, oh, just like that? Right?
You don't like this one. Make your own.
Make your own.
Sure.
But
I have one follower. It's me.
It's me. Hey, friend.
I'll follow you.
but when it comes to stuff like your basic life staples, 100% you don't need anybody outside but you and your friends. You guys can 100% grow all your own food. You can 100% accommodate, water for everybody's families. 100% is totally doable. Build it into your schedule, build it into your habit, and you don't even notice it. Like this year, my garden size doubled. Next year, it'll triple.
Yeah.
And I'm moving towards having, and it just isn't hard to do. I can get on YouTube and crack the Da Vinci Code on any of my gardening problems.
How to grow.
Like, pick it, and then I type in organically. I'm not pushing the organic agenda, but organic farming is easy. It is easy to do, especially at our level. I don't think the technique keeps up with,
massive
like production level
Yeah.
farming. Okay, but certainly my family, your family, and pick a family, we could do organic farming. It keeps the the poisons and all that stuff out of there. It's totally easy to do. And then we preserve pick a percentage, preserve that for the winter, and then whatever's left over, trade.
Sell.
Easy.
Yeah.
You can do this in a subdivision. Everybody can have a garden in their backyard.
For sure.
Chickens.
You'd have to be willing to do that, though. That's the problem that I foresee is how many people are actually willing to do that.
Well, I hate to be blunt. If you're not willing to do it, don't come to my house.
Yeah.
It's like
I just envision. I have this vision of the neighborhood, right? This big, huge subdivision with all the people living in it, living their lives, doing their jobs, all this stuff. How many of those people are willing to put in the time, the effort, not just to take care of the garden, but to learn about how to take care of the garden, to buy the tools, equipment?
Well, I think 5 years ago I would have said hardly none of them.
Mm-hmm. Think that's increasing?
But I think at the end of 2022, going into 2023, I bet there's a lot more people in these neighborhoods willing to,
put some time
in light of the obviousness of our situation, are willing to rethink that.
I don't know. I maybe. Yeah, I hope so. I think there's a lot more. I don't think there's enough.
See, everybody thinks, sometimes it is, but everybody thinks evil is some big demon with a battle axe, screaming and that, and it's not. It's super easy, right? It's easy and it tastes good and it feels good and it tells you everything's going to be okay. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
That's how evil slips in. Evil is easy. And the people that perpetrate this and try to get populations dependent on them, they slip that ease in there.
Yeah.
If I wanted to cripple a town,
how would you do it?
If I had unlimited U.S. tax dollars, right?
Yeah.
And I really wanted to cripple, say, Atlanta, the easiest way to do it, where I would get virtually zero pushback, is I would absolutely guarantee 3 meals a day for everybody in that town. No matter what, you're getting 3 meals a day, right? And after a couple of years of that, here's what's going to happen. I don't have to go to Ingles. I don't have to go to Kroger. I got my 3 meals.
Yeah.
Ingles, Kroger's goes out of business.
Yeah.
Or if they stay in business, well, they're going to start selling less, so they're going to start cutting back on the trucks. And then eventually they go away, and there's nothing but distribution systems. And then after a couple of years of that, when I realized you have zero infrastructure, you've stopped using your infrastructure, you took the free meal over the paid meal. After a few years, I'm like, all right, hey, you like that meal? Do what I say. No? Okay. Well,
No more meal.
No more meal. That's it. It's
Easy
that
as
simple.
that.
If I want to cripple a country, I will absolutely rain welfare on you.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Haiti. Haiti.
Sounds a little like communism.
Well, yeah, there's that, but you look at how some of these, and the U.S. is certainly guilty of this. Haiti is an excellent example. We are destroying that country by helping it. Leave them alone. They're fine. They're fine.
Yeah, they'll figure it out if you leave them
The
alone.
Haitians are fine.
Yeah.
They're fine. They know how to do stuff. They're not dumb.
Mm-hmm.
They're perfectly capable of managing their own business.
Yeah.
Right? Stay out of it.
Yeah.
So if I was a local Haitian, and I'm not, but if I were, and let's say I was going to start a business to provide power or public sanitation, because look around you, that's very much so needed everywhere in Haiti. I would absolutely get underbid by all the free crap coming in, and it's just crap.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
Half of it doesn't work. Most of the foreign aid I've seen in these third world countries, now I haven't been to Haiti, but most of the times I've seen foreign aid come into these countries, it's pure garbage.
Really?
It's garbage. It doesn't work. It might work a season, and it's a whole lot of a scam.
Mm-hmm.
So let's, for instance, I was going to do, we call them med caps. Me, a bunch of folks, we get a whole bunch of medical supplies. I'll go into some third world dump and I'll set up free sick call. Well, that's great. We're treating people, but two things you need to consider. One, I'm not staying. So I can't treat anything that's chronic
Long-term.
beyond, my stay.
Yeah.
All right. Two, I've put out of business the doctors and the pharmacists in the area by flooding the zone.
That's true.
Right. So when I'm forced to do med caps, it's like the U.S. Like, you're gonna make me love you. I will help you.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm forced to do stuff like that, typically I'll go hire local pharmacists, local doctors, and I'll buy out of their inventory, right, to run this mission so that they're propped up and not shut down. But I don't think you get that in places outside. So anyway, when you look inside the United States, that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you want to kill a town, douse it in welfare.
Yeah.
And they'll stop using the infrastructure that they needed. The best example I can give you is if I guaranteed you 3 meals a day, in about 5 years,
I get real used to that.
You wouldn't have a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
There wouldn't be distribution areas, and there used to be warehouses just for Atlanta. Those will all close because it's all free now. Right? That's what they do. So when that collapses, it's pretty ugly.
Yeah,
it's pretty ugly. All of a sudden, boom, nobody's got food, and that's what I saw in Baghdad. Is over the years, the people became more and more dependent on centralized distribution and less on, trade kind of economies. And so when the collapse happened, it hit hard.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Saddam Hussein was a nice guy. I'm not, but he got a lot of gruff for not distributing foreign aid to his people. It's like, yeah, he's trying to develop his economy.
His own economy.
Yeah, he's trying to get them to happen on its own. Now, the fact that he used it to buy Ferraris and stuff, that's whatever. But look at Russia.
Yeah.
Well, talk about big backfire on us. Russia right now has been preparing for Western sanctions for years. And the way they prepared for that was independence and interdependency. Right? Everything's done locally. Everything's
They
done
don't need anybody else.
Yeah. So it was laughable when the U.S. tried to put sanctions on them. It's like, so they don't get McDonald's and Coca-Cola. So now not only are they independent, now they're fit and healthy.
Yeah.
Right?
Darn it.
Joke's on us.
Yeah.
So
That's
local
crazy.
economies, interdependent communities, and if everybody in your community could commit to however long your winter is, I'll just say 3 months because that's where we're at, to 3 months. It doesn't even have to be good food, but stockpile food, you'll probably be okay.
Yeah.
Right? Have weapons, be able to provide for the defense of your community, security, not defense. Crime's going to be
The 3 month window you're saying is to outlast the shock, the implosion that's happening. It could outlast that in the 3 month period.
I think so, because again, you won't be alone, and if you're in a city of 10,000, now that's a small city, but that's That's 9,999 other people that need the same thing you need.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a concerted community effort to restore civil services.
Sure.
It's in the meantime you got to get over public sanitation, security, and don't starve.
Got to figure that out.
And medicine.
Sure.
Medicine for those who need it.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, cool. We've probably jabbered on long enough. Leave lots of comments, guys. Ask us lots of questions. That'd be cool. Start a little conversation going there, and we'll be in the comments making sure we answer any and all questions. If you disagree, fantastic. Do that too. I'd like to hear that as well because we don't know everything. But hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and we'll see you next time.